Thank you for staying after lunch and joining us. My name is Star. I've been the OT intern here for the last 3 months with Kaiser University. I'm currently continuing for my master's to be occupational therapist. So thank you for staying for the presentation. Krista has been so great to let me join her.
Hi. Hi, my name is Krista. Okay. I'm a physical therapist by background. I also work for Medtronic doing deep brain stimulation. I've done presentations here in the past talking about PT for Parkinson's and DBS. So I'm happy that Sally invited me back and I was able to team up with Star and do something a little different this time. So hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah, so today we're definitely going to go over adaptive equipment and some medical durable equipment. If any of you have ever known anybody in rehab or have participated in rehab, I'm sure you've seen some of these devices and equipment, but hopefully we can kind of introduce you into something new or maybe you didn't know about, and then also just how to use it safely. That's a big goal. So when we're talking about adaptive equipment, it is different from durable metal equipment. Adaptive equipment is not medically necessary. So this is just something that you can do aftermarket. It's not going to be prescribed by an OT, PT, or PCP. It will promote your independence in daily activities. It is very customizable. It can enhance functionality in the user's experience, and traditionally it is not covered by insurance. So this is something that you're going to have to pay for out of pocket. Some healthcare insurance plans, I know they do have like some type of savings or spending accounts that they offer. So that's where you could also help pay for to cover some of the adaptive equipment. When we're talking about medical durable equipment, we're talking about your walkers, wheelchairs, canes. That is medically necessary, right? We need that stuff. It requires a prescription, so you are going to need it from your OT, PT, or a PCP. It is integral for supporting rehab process. Without it, you're not going to make gains. You're going to have decrease in mobility or not be able to continue in the rehab process. And it is covered by insurance. So when is it appropriate to use adaptive equipment? Adaptive equipment is considered beneficial when a person may see a decline in any physical, cognitive, or sensory limitations. So as we start to maybe lose activity tolerance, or we start to get tired a little faster, maybe some neuropathy starts to set in. When a person has met their threshold and restorative recovery, and now compensation and strength, activity tolerance, functional activity is required. So if you've gone through rehab and you have met your mark and they're saying, hey, okay, this is as good as we can get you, but you're still having trouble maybe opening something, or you're still having trouble getting tired and you have to take frequent breaks, that's when you want to start considering maybe introducing some type of adaptive equipment. When is it unsafe? Using adaptive equipment independently and unsupervised should only occur when a person is able to demonstrate the ability to carry over instructions safely, right? We need to be safe. That's the key word. Supervision and assistance is required when safety is no longer carried over or misuse or unsafe use is observed. So when we start using walkers or even some of this equipment the wrong way, or maybe we have it too far or placed too far away from us, then we're going to want to start considering to have supervision with it. All right, fun part. So adaptive equipment, what is it? It is a device or a tool designed to improve or maintain a person's function, participation when performing activities of daily living and mobility. So here you see a few examples of some of the equipment that we have. And again, if you've ever been in a rehab or known someone in rehab, you might have seen some of these items. Here we have different types of adaptive equipment that you might see used for dressing. I'm going to pass some stuff around so you can just kind of play with it, hold it, get to know it. This is a button hook, and you're going to see it up with the gentleman with the button. And that might be used for when you're having difficulty with fine motor, maybe some neuropathy. It's going to get inserted inside of one side of your clothing, goes, hooks around the button, you pull it back out, and now you've been able to button up your shirt. For those gentlemen or ladies who really enjoy using or wearing button clothing, but they also have adaptive clothing. So in this picture, you have a gentleman wearing clothing that has buttons on the outside, but it's magnetized on the inside. So you don't even have to do buttons. You can just clip it together, right? This picture, we have adapted clothing as well. It's a zipper, it's a magnetized zipper. And same thing, you can see it's got a larger ring hook on it, so for better grip, better access. The magnetized takes away that need for maybe having to really have fine precision, bringing that bilateral hands together, and then even with low vision, right? Having to really look to see where we're trying to pass that around, to go. These are long-handled shoe horns. I'm sure you've seen these, and this is how simple adaptive equipment can be. If you're having trouble with balance and you can't bend down to put your shoe, if you're having trouble with trying to get your finger back there, you can slide that back and just help yourself get your shoe in. Some of this stuff you can order, get online. Some of it you can buy at CVS and Walmart. This is a dressing stick. Same thing, it's gonna help with pant legs, gripping, pulling over. We have a hook here, zippers, anything else that might need to have that. So some of this, again, you might have seen, and if not, good introduction. Bathing and hygiene, we have adaptive equipment, all kinds for bathing and hygiene. Some of these are very basic, like the long-handled sponges that we might see for decreased reaching or reaching around our back. The shower chair, if you're having difficulty with balance, you get tired easy, we don't want to fall, right? We have to be safe. So definitely considering using a shower chair. In the palm of the hand, we have a universal cuff. And so what that allows is you're able to put the electric shaver inside the hand, inside the cuff, so that you don't have to hold onto that shaver and you don't drop that shaver. And there's all kinds of universal cuffs. This is one that you can use, that you put on, and you can stick a utensil or you could stick a pencil in here, and it takes away that need to have to hold and maintain that tight grip, right? Because if I do this, it's still in there. So definitely having, just pass it back, Kim. Different options is always a plus. When we're considering meal preparation, the kitchen, as fun as it can be, is dangerous. Can be dangerous. I am a danger in the kitchen in general. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember that chef. We watch Sesame Street a lot, and there's that chef that just goes blah, 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 blah. That is me in the kitchen. I am a walking hazard. So without any, deficits. So when we're talking with adaptive equipment with some meal preparation, if we're having difficulty maintaining grips with sharp items, if we're having difficulty with maybe some shaking or tremors, we have different things that we can use. Lifting heavy jugs, those can get really heavy. A gallon of milk is like almost 5 pounds. So, using different choppers, we have adaptive cutting boards where they have little pegs or spikes that come up and you can place the food on so it doesn't move while you cut or while you slice. Up in the corner, we have jar openers. So again, different devices used that you can place on top of jars, different sizes, to help give you some of that leverage when you're twisting and opening bottles that you can have. So you're not straining, you're not hurting your wrist, you're not hurting your joints when you're trying to open these different things that we might use to help with meals. We have adaptive plates and also some anti-slip devices. So as we get further along with having to eat, scooping might become difficult. Maybe we're not getting the food off of a flat plate. So some plates come with ridges so that you have a barrier to go ahead and scoop against the food to help get it onto the spoon. So those are different options. You could use your regular plate and just slide this on top of it. Why not? And slide it on top of it. And the same thing, it works as creating that barrier so that your spoon has something to lie against. Yep, these are for regular plates. Yes, so you just slide it on. It's got a little hook. You'll be good to go. We have all kinds of utensils, right? Bench utensils, if we're having difficulty with elbow movement and we can't get that full range of motion, right? We have weighted utensils, so maybe you have a slight tremor or you just need a little more stability with it. These are pretty heavy. So it kind of gives you a little bit of weight to that. These are built-up utensils. So again, if your grasp is not as precise as it used to be, you have something a little larger, this is a weighted one, to hold on to. Medication management. So using adaptive equipment for everyday tasks can also include taking medication, and that's very important, right? We would definitely want to be safe when taking medication and complying with medication. Adaptive equipment can allow for improved compliance and independence with managing medications. Some of the things that they have are similar to on top of the lids to help with opening medications. Here in the corner with the eye drop, this little device allows you to put the eye drops inside of it, and it provides some leverage and a bigger surface area to squeeze. So if you do have decreased hand strength, you're not trying to use your fingers to get that squeeze. You're able to use more full grasp and full strength of all your fingers. This little thing down here in the corner, I struggle with trying to peel the paper back on some of those pill packets that they have, or trying to remove pills from a pill packet or even over-the-counter medications. This little device allows you to put it over the pill packet and punch it out. And it'll even catch it for you, so you don't have to worry about catching it. You can find that on Amazon, you can find it on Walmart. A lot of it has become so accessible. Home management and accessibility. So when we use our adaptive equipment safely and appropriate, it also can improve the safety and ability to age in place longer. I know being in our home environment for as long as we can safely is a big goal. So being able to access your front door, again, we might be starting to, do I have the key thing? Oh, I don't have one. I thought I had keys, but you can put your house key into some of these devices, and they just, again, provide that bigger grip for you, so you're not using such a small prehension pattern, and you just have better access, and maybe we're not dropping the key or looking for the key. It just really allows for you to have better access with the key. Same thing with door handles. You can slip something over them to make them larger so we're not twisting. Maybe now we're just pushing down. So eliminating some of that pain in wrists and joints and finger joints. This device, I think I have it. Can't believe we had one. We have one. What this does is this will slide underneath your seat cushion. This one is not my favorite because it only goes under the seat cushion, and I feel like it still can tip. There are better ones, like the one here, where they slide, the feet slide under the couch. And what it allows you to do is if you have difficulty sinking in the couch, like I sink in the couch, so you have to push up from the couch to maybe use a device or walking device, it gives you leverage. So you can now push off from the middle of your couch or one of your lazy boys or favorite chairs, and you're safer, right? You're just a safer transfer in general. So again, preferably the one with the legs that go under the couch, but I just wanted to give you guys a demonstration of what it looks like and what it's for. Oh, you know what? That's a great question. I will find it for you because they have so many different names. I mean, some are very generic, like chair lifter or chair bar holder. So I can find a specific brand for you and let you know before you leave. Okay? Yes, I've seen those. I don't. No, I didn't get a picture of that. This is see, this is another one. This is a ladder. They call it a bed ladder. So this will go all the way under your mattress and hook around your mattress. And this part lays on top of your mattress. so that if you or your loved one needs help getting out of bed, now they will use this to pull themselves up for leverage if there's no bar handle or no bed rail. And it's secure because it's wrapped around your mattress. Your mattress is not going anywhere, but it will lay across the mattress, and then someone will just be laying down and pull themselves up. 1, 2, 3. So this is a handy little device as well. All kinds of gadgets. It's like Inspector Gadget up here. So mobility in the community, getting into the car, just getting in and out can sometimes be difficult, especially as we start to maybe lose some of our mobility. Adaptive equipment can also be useful with transferring, backseat mobility, and increased community access, and even braking reaction time for those of you who drive. And so what I'm talking about with braking reaction time is with some patients who might have neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy, maybe some other conditions where they're losing sensation and feeling in feet, driving starts to become concerning, right? Because we don't feel that brake. We don't know how hard we're hitting that brake. We don't know how hard we're hitting that gas, right? So what can happen is if you speak with your occupational therapist, if you speak with your primary care professional or primary care physician, yes, then you could say, hey, you know what? I think that my feet, I'm having some trouble, and I would really consider driving rehab. They'll send you to OT, certified in driving rehabilitation. You'll go through a process. You'll take simulations. You might get an eval. But what they'll do is if they consider that, okay, yeah, you're a good candidate, right, because you can still use this device safely, these hand controls go up by the wheel. And now you have a push button because there may not be neuropathy in your hands yet, right? So now you have a push button to accelerate and brake. So now you're doing that safely where now you're taking the guesswork away from the feet. And am I feeling the brake correctly? Am I feeling the gas correctly? These are just little handles that go on the headrest. So if you're in the back seat, you can help pull yourself, get out. You can help pull yourself up. This little handle is a great device. Aren't these the best? So these will actually go in the car jamb of the door. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed when you open your car door, there's that little metal hook that comes out. These will sit in there. These can hold up to 300 pounds. You put them in there, and then this allows you to push up. You can bear your weight on this safely and not be worried about having to fall. You can lean on it to help you adjust yourself in. You can push on it to help yourself get out of that car door. They're a great little tool. They're good to have. You can find them on Amazon. I mean, Amazon is everything now. And they're just really good to just have. So definitely consider having those in your car for increased mobility. So that's it for me as far as adaptive equipment. I have more up here. You guys are welcome after the presentation to come explore, look. Like I said, a lot of this is over the counter now. There was some real specialty items that you would have to go look for, with maybe the Michael J. Fox Foundation. There's the right stuff. You Google adaptive equipment, everything will come up. But the good thing is a lot of it is accessible on Amazon, Walmart, CVS, Home Depot, that you can find this very, cost-effective, very accessible. So thank you. Krista's going to come up with our mobility and gait devices.
Thank you, Star. You're awesome. I will just say she definitely hit on some of my favorite adaptive equipment, especially the handle for the car. It's been so helpful when we're working on car transfers with patients. It seems to really help a long way, and I think it's like $10 on Amazon. So it's, very affordable. Just gives you that little extra help you might need. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about some mobility and gait devices. Wheelchairs, walkers, canes, different sorts of the kind. We'll review how to use each of them safely and when they might come in handy for you. So wheelchairs. When should I consider using a wheelchair? Forgot to put that in there. So wheelchairs are typically prescribed when patients are unable to walk safely with a less restrictive device, such as like a cane or a walker. They may also be beneficial for those who maybe can walk, just not long distances. So maybe we're lacking a little bit of endurance and might just be safer to use a wheelchair like in the grocery store or in the mall. There are many different types of wheelchairs, but I'm just going to hit on, manual versus power. So Medicare covers both manual and power wheelchairs under strict criteria as durable medical equipment, as Star talked about earlier. Manual wheelchair is covered if the patient can't use a cane or a walker, but has enough upper body strength to self-propel the manual chair, which we're going to talk about how to do that safely in a minute. And power wheelchairs are only covered if the patient can't walk or use a manual chair due to severe limitations, and they can safely operate the power chair in the home. I will say all wheelchairs must be medically necessary, used inside the home, and prescribed after a face-to-face mobility evaluation. And this can be performed by a PT or an OT, depending on the setting. And the documentation must support the needs, including a written order or a home assessment for power chairs. It often requires a letter of medical necessity for insurance coverage, which your PT or OT will document and handle that on the insurance side. When I worked in inpatient rehab, we would often outsource our medical evaluations to a third party who would come into the hospital, do the evaluation with us. We would test, strength, range of motion, mobility, and then they would help with essentially getting a loaner chair. This is more so for power wheelchairs, but also for manual, so that the chair is made specifically for you and addresses all of the needs that you need to be met. Okay, Star is going to help me do a demo on how to use a manual wheelchair and how to self-propel correctly. So there is a proper propulsion technique to improve energy efficiency and avoid excess stress on the shoulder joints for those who are primary wheelchair users. And improper technique can lead to chronic shoulder issues with time. So, it's okay. Okay, I'm going to start off by saying, and I made a big safety tip here, you always want to make sure that the brakes are locked before you stand up or sit down from the chair. That's like the #1 safety rule. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to propel. Okay, so first you want to unlock the locks, you got it. And then I'm going to have you put your hands on the outer rims of the wheelchair. Perfect. Is everyone able to see okay? Enough, okay. And then Star, I want you to push forward, and as you get here, I want you to release and then bring your arms back up, kind of in like that semicircle position. Yep, so keep going, do a couple. Good. And then you can even start to connect them if you really want to get going. Yep, there you go. And honestly, I have a lot of patients that use their arms and legs, if you can. Yep. Truly, it makes it so much easier. And then turning is a little bit more difficult, but if you want to turn to the right, you are going to pull back with the right arm and push forward with the left. And then you just do a little circle. Yeah. I know. I had a student rotation on a spinal cord injury unit, and we had some of our patients doing wheelies and really fun different things. So you can have fun with it once you get pretty good. Awesome. I appreciate it, Star. Any questions on wheelchairs so far? Okay. Oh, cushions. So cushions can be very specific. I also learned this on the spinal cord injury unit. There are many different types depending on the needs, how mobile the patient is, so that we can prevent any sort of pressure sores from prolonged sitting. There's also pressure relief techniques that you can do. Sometimes when you sit for a long time, you're like, oh, I feel like I should stand, or I'm getting kind of sore, you can always just lean forward in the chair or, one way or the other, use your triceps to push up to kind of relieve that pressure from your bottom. Okay, walkers. So I just picked kind of the 3 most common types of walkers that you'll typically see. The first one is just your standard rolling walker, has 2 wheels in the front and no wheels in the back. There is a walker that has no wheels, so it's just like 4 solid prongs. I don't love those types of walkers because you have to pick them up when you walk, and I feel like that's almost harder than just, walking straight each time. They are going to be the most stable, though. Okay. So the rolling walker. If I talk really loud, you guys won't hear me. Okay. So I typically start my patients off with the rolling walker, just because it's more stable than the walker with 4 wheels, but there are some different limitations. I'll talk about that in a minute, but as far as proper use of the walker, sizing is very important because we don't want your arms to be, too flexed, or we, can't have them be too extended. So I usually say when you're sizing it to kind of stand next to it. It should kind of line up with your wrist. This one's a little bit too tall for me, but for now it's okay. All of them are easily adjustable down here. But I typically start there, and then when your hands are resting, you want about a 15 to 30 degree angle in the elbow. And then, oh no, that's pretty good. So the biggest thing I don't want to see with people using walkers is this. Because this is going to keep going, and then where do I? So the most important thing is to have your arms comfortable at your sides, and you want to keep your body basic support within the walker. The other thing is turning. You don't want to just kind of throw the walker around and then have your body follow. So I always tell people, turn a little bit at a time, follow it, a little bit at a time, follow it. And then we have a nice smooth turn. Something I've learned is if you feel like you're having an issue of the walker starting to get away from you a little bit, I've had some of my patients put towels under their armpits. So if I had a towel under here, if it starts about too far in front of me, the towel would drop. So it's a good indicator that you know you're kind of keeping a good posture, keeping everything where it should be, and we're walking through. I didn't, but I can just try that. Okay. Thank you. Okay, that's better. All right. Any questions about the 2-wheeled walker? Okay. So the 4-wheeled walker, this is really nice because it's very mobile. You can turn a lot easier with it. It can go in all sorts of directions. Great for endurance. You can walk long distances because it has a seat, which is super handy. So normally, this is like my next upgrade from the rolling walker. Patients that I know are safe, they're not pushing too much or putting too much weight through the arms, because if we do that, can get away from us a little bit more. Same idea as the wheelchairs. You always want to make sure that the brakes are locked before standing up or sitting down. It's like the number one thing. So we stand up, unlock the brakes, we're ready to go. Same thing here. You want to make sure that the height is appropriate to you, that 15 to 30 degree in the elbow, and kind of comfortable at the sides, not too far ahead. When you want to take a seat, you want to make sure you park the walker against a stable surface like a wall or something nearby. We lock, and then we sit. Then we stand, turn, and we're ready to go. So any of these walkers, you won't be able to take up steps or stairs. You can do curbs with them, like if there's just a small curb step. The rolling walker is going to be easier to lift up onto the curb because it's a little bit lighter than this one. But I have had patients, do both. If you have a curb, come up to it, you would lift 2 wheels at once, take a step, bring the other 2 back up, and then keep going. Okay. Any questions about the 4-wheeled walker or the rollator? Good? Okay. All right. So this is a U-step walker. Does anybody have one of these? You do? It's called a U-step walker. So it was designed specifically for patients with Parkinson's. Greg, what do you like about your U-step?
It has a little light that keeps your steps
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that when you release it stops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like those things about it too. So for those of you that couldn't hear him, Greg said he likes it because it has a laser at the bottom that lights up when you walk. And I'm going to show a little picture of it here. So if you can see on the left side, there's a laser on the bottom. This can help a lot with cadence, freezing of gait, specific mobility issues with Parkinson's. So it can be super helpful in telling you where to step. For patients, if you're kind of have that fascination, trouble getting started, it's just that external cue to help you get going. I was also reading that along with the laser, there can also be an auditory cue. So it'll beep, kind of that rhythmic auditory walking. Yep, so then it keeps your steps rhythmic and it makes it a little bit more automatic, so you're not thinking about it too much, but it helps you keep on pace, and it's something that I use sometimes with my patients when I'm walking or working on gait training. It can just be that extra little help. It vibrates. Ooh, what does the vibrate help with? Oh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, this is like all the bells and whistles. I also like that the U shape around it is a little bit different than the other walkers. So you feel like you're always kind of surrounded, and most of the weight of the walker is at the base. So it really helps with stability and center of gravity. And Greg, you also mentioned the reverse braking system. So normal walkers, well, I guess the rollator is different. So it doesn't have a lock when you're walking. You have to manually put it on. Whereas the U-step, you have to intentionally pull the brakes up to release while you're walking. And when I let go, the walker brakes. Yep, so it's the opposite. So you really have to be intentional with your movement, which can be great for fall prevention. Also, it has a step, which is really neat. Or a seat, sorry. I was reading something too. I think this flips so that you can sit, yeah. I think maybe it's that. Oh, okay. I was reading to be able to sit in places, how it's, yeah. So The other thing I like about it is that if you turn it this direction and say this is a table, because of the way the seat is, you can sit here and then get closer without, these kind of getting in the way. So that's nice. That's good. Yeah, as you can see, a lot of cool features. Whoever designed this really put a lot of effort into it and made it great. Okay, talked about this. Okay, here's just a little image about the adjustableness and the proper height of the walker. Okay, canes. Same idea as the walkers, couple different types of canes. The one on the far right is just a single point cane. It's going to be your most standard. The one in the middle is what we call a quad cane. So it's going to provide you a little bit more support at the base because it's a little bit larger. And then the cane on the far right, technically we call it a hemi walker, but I threw it in with the canes. We mostly use that for stroke patients that may have a lot of weakness on one side. Just has that really wide base of support, and it's a little bit more durable than the other two. Okay. So, proper use for canes. Rule of thumb, you want to use the cane in the opposite hand of the, quote, weaker leg, whichever that may be for you. So, if my left leg is my affected or weak leg, then the cane is going to be in my right hand. And I always like to tell patients to imagine that there's a string connected to the cane and your left foot or the weak foot, and they always go together. So cane, opposite. Okay. And that's what I'm demonstrating is a step through pattern. We can also do a step two pattern, which is cane, foot. We just step to the cane. A little bit more thought required for that one, but can be helpful when you're just learning how to first use it. And then once you really get going, you can kind of just do that normal step through. So stairs. Canes are nice because you can take them up and down stairs and they're very mobile. They're usually lightweight, very thin. You can travel with them, take them everywhere you go. A little bit less support than the walkers. So if you're in that kind of medium stage where you feel like you could use a little help on your balance, but you don't need a lot, or if you're having a little bit more weakness or trouble with one side, cane is a great option. For the stairs, you always want to lead with the strong leg when going up. So I always say up with the good, down with the bad, or all good, go to heaven. So you want to do the cane and the strong leg. Oops. Strong leg and the cane first. Go up. Kind of hard to do stairs, but strong leg, yep, and then the cane follow because they're always together. Questions about canes? Does anybody who has a cane want to offer as a volunteer? We can do it together. No volunteers? Oh, you guys. Greg, you want to volunteer? Yes. I'm really not going to pick on you, I promise. I appreciate it. That's fair. Okay, I'm just going to have you walk across. How do you do? Good? I think so too. Bonus question, what step pattern was he doing? Step through or step two? You want it? Greg says, I don't even know. Do you want to do another one, Greg? Okay. All All right, guys, what do you think? Step 2 or step through? Step through. All right. Let's give a round of applause for Greg. Thank you. Someone get this guy some candy. Okay. Any other questions about canes? I think I have a little image here. A cane with a light? Hey, as I said, all the bells and whistles these days, you never know what you're going to see. Yeah, I like that. That is nifty. Okay. Getting up out of a chair, as you can see, the cane is still opposite of the weaker leg, and you can hold the cane while you're getting up from the chair to give you that extra piece of support. Okay. Walking poles. Has anybody tried walking poles before? What do you think about them? Why do you like them? I love it. You didn't like them? Why not? Okay. Hey, yeah, these are good answers. Hey, they're not for everyone, just like all of the equipment that we're talking about may not be for everyone. But if it works for you, that's great. I was reading a little bit about them on the Parkinson's Foundation website. They can help improve posture and balance. They may enhance gait and stride length, encouraging more fluid and symmetrical walking pattern. Potentially reduce episodes of freezing of gait by providing those visual and tactile cues of feeling everything around you. And they can strengthen the upper body and improve coordination, which can be affected by Parkinson's. I like them because they do give that extra balance without limiting too much, and they're symmetrical, whereas the cane is only on one side. So if it's something that works for you, more power to you, but it can be a useful tool if you haven't tried them. Okay. Transfer devices. A transfer aid is a device or tool used to help move a person with limited mobility from one service or position to another safely and efficiently without causing strain or injury to the person or the caregiver. Super briefly, this isn't, very important. I just wanted to provide some background or context to kind of what Star and I's process goes in when we think about transfers and what aid we might use to help that person. Independent or supervision, very high level. The patient may not need a lot of assistance. They're able to do a lot of it on their own. Minimal assist requires, 25% or less help from the caregiver. Moderate, the caregiver does 50% or more of the effort. Max, 75% more of the effort, or total assistance as the patient is not able to help at all in the activity. Okay. On the far right, we have our classic gait belt, which I have an example of that here. The middle is what we call a Hoyer lift, and that's going to be for our more max or total assistance patients. Bottom right here is a slide board or a transfer board. I'll talk a little bit about that more in a second. And this top right image is a pivot disc, which I really like. I don't think we have one here though, but we'll talk about it. So minimal to moderate assistance. So in those patients that may need a little bit of help, but are still able to perform the activity. So the gait belt. I don't think I'm going to put this on, but many of you have probably seen these at some point or another, or Sally said there's a lot over there on the Everlast bag. So multi-purpose use, yeah. But basically, just a belt that would go around the person's waist to give the caregiver something to hold on to when we're gait training or doing a transfer, just to have something safe and steady to hold on to. The pivot disc. So would you mind helping? Okay. I'm going to have you sit here. Okay, so the pivot disc would be a rotating disc that would be, I would place under Star's feet. So if a person, when they stand, have trouble kind of turning or getting their feet to go, to transfer and move in one direction, the disc can be super helpful. It does that turning for them, and they don't have to move their feet at all. But it still allows them to, participate in the activity by standing up to give the caregiver some assistance. So that's a good way to put it. Okay. So if I were to help Star transfer from this seat to that seat, disc would be under her feet. I would help her stand, and then I would just turn her, and then she would sit here in the chair. I love that Lazy Susan. So I think those are also pretty cheap on Amazon, maybe like 25 or $30. So yes. So there's very specific circumstances that you would use it. I personally think it's only for patients that need that help and there's someone else with them. I wouldn't recommend using it by yourself. So it's almost just more of an assistance to the caregiver if the patient is having issues kind of turning or moving their feet during a transfer.
Would that be good for getting somebody out of the car?
Yeah, I actually have had patients sit on it in the car so that they can just turn their body and then it turns with them.
They have special ones for the car that are built up, because you know how the cars sometimes kind of go in and downward, so they do have them built up. Same things, they sit on it and they literally just rotate out.
Yeah. We love demos. Okay, slide sheet. So slide sheets are great for transfers in and out of bed or even in bed. Basically, just a sheet, very slippery, I think nylon maybe. You fold it over and then you just scoot the patient and the sheets slide on each other just to eliminate that shear of the bed or whatever surface we're trying to move or transfer the patient from. I use these a lot in the hospital when I'm working on transfers, and they're very helpful for slide board transfers especially. Has anyone seen a slide board or used a slide board, transfer board? This one here. So basically it just bridges the gap between those two surfaces, say the bed and a chair, or a wheelchair and another chair or a mat, so that the caregiver can help slide the patient down or over the next surface without the patient physically having to stand. I use these a lot with my spinal cord injury patients that maybe don't have, use of their legs, or they're very weak, but they have good upper body strength. They can actually scoot themselves down and across the board into the next surface without having to stand or use their legs at all. Just thought I'd mention it. Okay, maximum assist or dependent. So a couple mechanical lifts going to talk about. I think we had a, Sally, I think we had a Hoyer lift here, but.
Yes, we actually probably are left in the.
We don't need to go get it, but yeah. No, it's okay. So I use these a lot in the hospital for some patients that need a lot of help getting out of bed or getting into a chair transferring. The Hoyer lift is a mechanical lift used to transfer a patient between two surfaces, used in the inpatient setting or for patients who are non-ambulatory or unable to bear weight through the legs. Home lift can be acquired through insurance if it's justified, with proper training from a therapy professional before home use. A lot of times if a patient is going to need a lift like this for an extended period of time after they leave the hospital, we'll do a family training or a home assessment to make sure that everybody is comfortable and capable of using the lift at home. Requires 2 or plus caregivers just for safety. The Sarah lift is a little different. It's intended for patients who can bear weight, but not long enough for a safe transfer. It can be used during therapy to help with weight bearing and leg strength. A home lift can be acquired through insurance if justified. So basically, there is a strap that the patient would wear that this lift would
Like the lift would come up and then the strap is behind the patient and then it just kind of helps them stand and stay in place. Have you seen one? Yeah. There's a couple different types. That's just called a Ceralift. It's the one I'm most comfortable with. I think at the Encompass, they actually use a Lumex. You ever heard of that? No. Yeah, there's a couple different ones, but I just thought I would throw it in there.